football too.
Yes. All right. Welcome back to WOVU 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and I am here with Mr. Caleb Blake. And what's up, Caleb? How you doing?
I'm doing good, doing good. Happy to be here
Yeah,
as
man.
always.
Sorry about having you in a little bit late. You know I missed you.
Oh yeah, never a problem, never a problem.
Yeah, so we're gonna wrap up this baseball talk. I just talked Cleveland Guardians for half an hour, but I wanted to ask you if you have heard about you if you heard the or saw the slap that has rocked the baseball world.
Yeah, so I saw that it happened because I mean the first thing nowadays I'm always on Twitter, and I saw Jock Peterson trending, and I mean I obviously he's a solid guy in the league, somebody that at least I know in the league. So decided to check it out, and saw it, and then saw his interview. Basically, it had already happened when I had gotten to it at that point. But when I heard it was about like fantasy football and something like that can't be real, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah, it
it's
was honestly over fantasy football, and I guess people don't play over fantasy football, but it was over fantasy football months, and we're talking months later because football ended in February. Caleb froze up on me.
yeah,
Um,
that's all right. I think I'm back. I'm back.
okay, yeah, I see you now. Yeah, it happened in. I mean, fantasy football was over, in February. So,
Right,
you
like
know,
he's
this,
still holding on to the grudge. I mean, that's a long time.
when people call women petty.
Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculously petty. I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that either. And these guys are in the MLB, so. Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
get some people take it seriously though. I don't know.
Well, also too, he said that he was mad about the disrespect shown to the Padres or whatever. When the Padres did underachieve that year, they were a good team and they should have been making the playoffs, but they underachieved and kind of broke down. So he said that was one of the catalysts as well. And just the whole thing, the way it went down. I don't know if he told somebody, "Hey, look, I'm about to go, confront Jock or whatever," and because there was somebody filming just right at the perfect time to be able to catch the slap.
Right.
And I have an issue with this because Will Smith kind of has the Will Smith effect. People have slapped people before, but something never that publicly where the whole world is watching an award show. Everybody is glammed in their, formal attire, and you walk up on the stage and you slap another performer. And to Jock, watch Tommy Pham go up there and do that to Jock Peterson, I felt some type of way, and I deferred to Will Smith. This is a Will Smith effect, just like when Dave Chappelle went on stage and somebody tried to tackle him on stage. When have you really, I mean, you've heard of people breaching the stage and doing all that stuff before, but like this level of this type of thing, where have you seen this at? You know,
Yeah, I mean, it really hasn't happened before until like you said, the Will Smith effect. I guess. I mean, it's not often that you see, especially outside of the game, like during training camp or anything like that.
mhm.
It's just no place for that really, and yeah, I don't know. It's hard to put it into words, I guess, just because. Yeah, I mean, we have never seen anything like that before, and then when you find out all the details, like like we just talked about, is it just compounds and makes it a worse and worse decision.
Yeah, then you just walk up and smack another grown man, and it's just like these people know who to target, just like Will Smith, targeted Chris Rock, who was, this little guy. Chris Rock is little and skinny. I can't foresee Will Smith going up to somebody as big as him doing the same thing. And Tommy Pham went and picked on Jock Peterson because he knew he wouldn't do anything back. You went and slapped this man on the cheek, for no good reason.
Right.
He he also insisted that Jock Peterson did cheat as well in the fantasy football league. And Jock admitted it. He apologized to all involved. I guess he thought what he did wasn't cheating, where he had somebody out on the IR, and I
So
guess
so
he took
what
it
he
off.
did, at least what I heard, it really wasn't. I don't think it was cheating, to be honest. It was
Right.
just playing by the. I mean, if those are the rules, you set the rules in your league before they start. So to be honest, I really don't think he's in the wrong. But I mean, haters gonna hate to me, right? Like with Tommy Pham at this point, like that's it. There's no reason it should have escalated to this point, and there's no. I mean, yeah, especially when you're wrong. Like I really don't think there's any rule anywhere saying that is. But hey, I mean, I could be wrong also.
Yeah, from what most fantasy experts, this was my first year playing fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
and I did pretty good. I was crushing it on a lot of weeks. But a lot of people who have been playing fantasy, longer, like you said, what he did wasn't cheating. But obviously, Tommy Pham felt that way. But Tommy Pham was in the wrong. It's indefensible. You go up and confront somebody because he walked up and was like, the first thing he said was, "Remember fantasy," So. And
Yeah.
what? So what if he was talking mess about the Padres? The Padres stunk. I mean, he's not the first person to talk crap about the team. What about media people and reporters and stuff like that? They do it all the time. So are you going to go and slap every one of them? Hey, I remember when you said, and then he on the even worse team right now. He on the Cincinnati Reds.
Right. I
So Jock
mean,
Peterson could make fun of that if he wanted to.
yeah. I mean, if you want to at least like be able to play better or go out and change the results on the field, but to take it to like practice. I mean, like, is like yeah, like we're talking about practice. I mean that there's no place for that in the game or just in general anywhere.
Yeah, so Tommy Pham was fined for an undisclosed amount, and he was suspended for 3 games. So he was suspended for the series against the San Francisco Giants. That's who Jock Peterson plays for, and this happened right before Friday's game. Manager Dave Martinez has never said what the discussion was with Tommy because he talked to Tommy obviously, and we Gabe Kepler really didn't want any parts of it. The San Francisco Giants manager, he didn't really want any part of anything. And he just said that Jock handled the situation well because they talk about being non reactionary. The two did have to be separated because you didn't really see what happened right after he smacked him. The video kind of cut off. So you didn't see what happened. But, the two had to be separated. And Tommy Pham was in the wrong. He's one of the few black men in all of baseball, and unfortunately, he just shouldn't have did that.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So, yeah. But yeah, and he was talking about there was big money on the line and stuff like that. I want to know how much money was on the line at this point.
Right. I mean, this has to be a pretty serious amount of bread for him to be this pressed about it. I mean, so far after the fact, and it's like fantasy football is a game. I mean, it is never something that really needs to be taken that serious. So, completely uncalled for.
Yeah, and hopefully Tommy has learned his lesson. So let's go ahead and talk about the Cleveland Browns. So Cleveland Browns OTAs finishing up, about to start some more. And big news out of there, David Njoku has a new contract for 4 years, 56.75 million dollars, and 28 million of that contract is guaranteed. Do you feel that he's worth that amount, Caleb?
Well, we talked about this on the show last
Well,
time I was on, right?
we wasn't sure that it was really going to be that amount.
Right.
It
We
was talking
weren't.
about
We didn't know.
13.
That's true.
We didn't believe it. So when it came out to be 14, averaging 14 a year.
Yeah, I will say after finding out it was a little bit more than we anticipated. Like I told you, I think I said I could talk myself into, giving him 13 million, right? But
Yeah.
I, it's a lot of money. I mean, it doesn't seem like a huge increase because, but when we talk about like millions like that, I mean, it's a lot of money to be paying a tight end. And what I believe he would have been the fourth, or he's now the third or fourth highest paid tight end in the
Hmm.
league.
Yeah.
And, I still believe that he could maybe play himself into that conversation depending on how, this season ends up going for us. But I'm definitely gonna have to see more now. I mean, that's the big bucks that guys like Kelsey and Mark Andrews and George Kittle are getting paid. So
Hmm.
and I think he can do it just because of we saw the improvement from last season, but hopefully Chief can give us what we believe he's worth.
Yeah, and that just comes down to Kevin Stefanski and the offense that he wants to run as well. And we always know that, he banks heavily on tight ends. But now you're paying him $14 million a season. You really have to draw up some plays and have this offense flow in and out of his hands too. He has to be a crucial part of this offense moving forward.
Yeah, especially, and there's the opportunity for him too as well. I mean, when you think about it, Amari Cooper, we don't necessarily know exactly what we're getting from him, but Amari Cooper is a proven and talented receiver in this league. But outside of that, I mean, DPJ, didn't take the leap last year that we wanted him to because of, I mean, obviously we had Baker and whatnot, but there's not really a proven second guy, I don't think, on our receiving corps. And, he kind of can fill a role like I'm not comparing him to Travis Kelsey, but be that kind of guy where it doesn't matter and you don't need, a million different receivers on the outside to make things happen. If he just improves to, I mean, even just slightly, just slightly, and continue on the momentum from last season, then I think he's fine.
Yeah, I think so too. But Kevin Stefanski has to game plan a lot better for him to make sure he gets touches
Yeah.
and put him in situations that play to his strengths and allow him to be effective. And like you said, DPJ didn't take the steps, but all that was with an unproven quarterback, and now you have one of the best quarterbacks in all of football. They say that he looks good out at OTAs, just throwing beautiful balls, throwing balls that are catchable, and he's making everybody who he throws to look good. And I never heard that about Baker at all, like ever. And him taking the team on that trip that really bonded him, and they love him. Everybody in the building loves him, and that was the opposite you were hearing about Baker Mayfield. Well, that stuff, came out, it's coming out later, you know. So that's coming out later, but so far everybody just loves Deshaun. If he didn't have this situation hanging over his head, he'd be as y'all say Gucci. Do y'all still say Gucci?
That's still definitely a saying. You can
Okay.
definitely still say that.
Okay, I'm showing my age. He would be Gucci. So, um, yeah, those things weren't said about Baker Mayfield. They weren't talking about how pretty his balls was, how the touch on his ball was right where it needs to be. But you look at Deshaun Watson, and he's a national champion, and he was a great player for Texas. They just had a terrible team around him, a terrible offensive line, and he's going to be able to do great things. I don't know if you heard any rumors talking about the Browns actually might pursue and Dominican Sue. So we'll be right back. We got to take a break. You're listening to Her in the Huddle, WOVU. All right, welcome back. You're listening to Her in a Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM, and we were just on break. And we right before we went to break, we were talking about the rumor mill that's going on that the Cleveland Browns might pursue Ndamukong Suh. And did you hear any rumors about that, Caleb?
I actually didn't, but I mean, that would be a scary front line.
Yeah,
that
he's getting a little bit older. Would you be willing to take him on?
for the right amount of money. I mean, I think with us paying Njoku though, it shows that we're kind of all in right now. I mean, we're throwing money at guys right now. I mean, obviously we paid
Yeah,
Deshaun.
we're
You
gonna have
know,
some salary cap issues later down the line.
oh, we will for sure. But if Ndamukong Suh is willing to come in and take, I mean, he's gonna have to take less money than he probably ideally wants, even though he is an older player.
He's 35.
I feel like just based on his past, though, I mean, he's a proven guy in this league that, and you know what you're gonna get from him. I think if he's as long as he's healthy, you know what you're getting. And putting him next to Miles and Jadavion, I mean, he doesn't even really have to do much. I think it would also be a great help for Perry and Winfrey. He could definitely show him some different new things on the inside. I I'm all for that. I'm definitely all for that.
Yeah, I take him too for a year or two or whatever. I don't,
Yeah,
know
I think
about much
just like
longer than that.
a year contract, a year's
One
best
year
contract.
rental.
Yeah, 1 year rental, and then kind of it's also an opportunity for him where he can kind of prove himself. If he is, at 35, still producing like this, I mean, who's to say nobody would, take him for another year at 36? So we'll see.
Yeah, that would be very that would be a pickup that would raise a lot of eyebrows, and I think he would fit in very well here and what Cleveland is trying to build. Yeah, I kind of don't like his little reputation of being dirty, though.
Yeah, that is.
Not a
Yeah,
fan of that.
not a huge fan of that either. Especially, I could not stand like when he was on the Lions and the Thanksgiving Day things that happened with Aaron Rodgers and whatnot. But I mean, well, hey, I mean, obviously Aaron Rodgers is a different guy now, but it is what it is. I mean, I think that at this point, if you can get him to come in and buy in and just be committed to football, then everyone can just focus in and it's locking on one goal, and I think we're all right.
George says that he said Sue could be a situational player, 2-year contract with the team option, and that sounds okay.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I
I
can get
mean,
with that as well.
team option, and it's just like a prove it type thing. It's honestly what we could have done. Looking back on it, obviously, we wouldn't have known now what was going to happen in the season that Jadavion would have, but we could have done this a similar type of thing last year, and then we wouldn't have had to deal with the free agency. So I'm all for that for sure.
Yeah. So the Browns will not be releasing Baker Mayfield. They still want to trade him. Is Baker a starting QB in this league? Because Emmanuel Ocho and Marcellus Wiley got into it about that. I'm not sure who said what, but that is an interesting question because nobody is moving on him at all.
I mean, a starting quarterback,
Hmm.
I definitely like. I mean, Drew Lock is supposed to be the starter for the Seattle Seahawks next year. No, I mean, Drew Lock hasn't really won. There are a lot of guys in the league right now that I think, aren't proven necessarily or haven't done anything and continue to get opportunities. So I feel like, Baker has at least come in, won a playoff game, won, offensive rookie of the year, and had, I mean, he hasn't, obviously, Deshaun Watson, we're in a different league, but he is definitely a starting quarterback somewhere in the league right now.
Nate says Drew Lock sucks, which is we know.
I mean, yeah, Drew Lock hasn't produced. He had one good game when he had the dope clip of him with the like him rapping Jeezy in the background, and after that was the only thing he's ever done in the NFL. So
Yeah. So, Baker could replace him out there because Drew Lock is in Seattle, right?
yeah, I saw a report the other day that said no one. It was that we only want to pay like half of his contract, right? But no
Hmm.
one wants to pay more than like 5 to 6 million.
Yeah.
Um, I also think that's kind of like, and we talked about this before, just situationally, like he's eventually gonna have to. He's gonna have to go. So I mean, I guess if you're Seattle or if you're I don't know, another team in that kind of realm. I mean, even Carolina, I don't think thinks that if Baker came in, they would go win a Super Bowl or anything like that. It's kind of like, I mean, we're not really playing for much this year anyway. Do we really want to go out and give this guy this money for, and he still has to prove himself. So,
Yeah, they were talking about the possible trade draft night, and Carolina wanted the Browns to pick up 14 million of that contract. They
yeah, I
only
mean,
wanted to
that's,
pick up
they,
4.
they
Like, come on, man! Like that ain't even. That's ridiculous. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
can I can see them standing pat, but you might run into a situation in which Baker possibly could be here come mandatory minicamp, and that will be an awkward, uncomfortable situation. But, here we are. If they're not able to deal him, I think they would keep him away from the team. But I'm like, you know what? He being paid $18 million. You have him get out there just in case. Deshaun Watson is suspended those 6 games. I'm not sure, you're playing a very easy schedule. The first 4 games are very easy and should be winnable games, but these are no guarantees because this is the NFL. So why not have Baker go out there and start? He's still on the team.
I, yes. Well, I really think it'll just throw off the vibe though. Like right now, it seems like we have a lot of continuity and everybody's on the same page. And when you bring in like that kind of negative energy where, and everybody's going to be on edge again. And that's something that can really, especially offensively, I mean, I could totally see us being in like a rut or something like that. And Baker's definitely, I mean, he's already shown that he doesn't want to be here. I feel like he's basically said it. But I still hope that they get it resolved sooner rather than later.
Yeah, they will. All right, couple minutes left. NBA playoffs. Miami was not able to get it done. Jimmy Butler took a three that I would have never taken. Would you have taken that shot, Caleb? Would you have taken that three?
Um, Honestly, yeah. If I'm Jimmy,
Why?
if
Jimmy Butler, that's not
so,
his game. He ain't no
that's
3-point
not it.
shooter.
If I'm Jimmy Butler and I know my game, then I probably would have tried to get past Al Horford for a quick one,
Right,
because
he was backpedaling.
at least then you're going OT. But I think Jimmy earned the right to be able to take that shot. Like without him, their entire their entire organization goes through him right now. I mean, they wouldn't even be in that game 7 if he hadn't put up 47, the game before.
Yeah.
And then he still had I think 35 at that point. So I definitely think that he earned the right to at least be able to take the shot. And if he makes that shot, it's everybody's like, wow, like Jimmy Butler is that dude. Like he just refuses to lose. I mean, so it's a critical decision, and you only have like seconds to make it. But I'm definitely not mad at him taking the shot. I also I mean, I said this on here. I wanted to see the Celtics in the finals. So
Why?
I, I I'm loving Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown right now. I mean,
Yeah.
they play an exciting brand of basketball to watch, and they play great defense. I mean, you got Marcus Smart. He's
He
coming off the
better
defensive player
step
of the
up.
year right now. He is going to need to step up big time in the finals because I think he is the key to. I mean, defensively, he's going to be gassed. I mean, you're guarding Steph Curry. He's going to be guarding when Steph goes out. He's guarding Jordan Poole. I mean, Klay Thompson. They have so many weapons that he's going to be exhausted. But he has to play just well enough, also offensively, for them to kind of have a shot. And they're also going to need, a guy in the last series like Derek White, who is, he finished the Heat series pretty well. I mean, he had 22 points in game 5, I believe, to put them up 3-2.
Hmm.
And in his minutes, he's giving you solid production right now. So Al Horford, I mean, they're an exciting team to watch, and I think they match up well with Golden State too. In terms of they can go small ball, put Grant Williams in. Al Horford has been playing phenomenal and out of his mind this playoffs. Congratulations to him, by the way, just for it was 141 games, I think, without making it to a playoff game. I mean, LeBron's a big part of that, but I mean,
Whatever.
it's good to see. It's good to see guys, do well, and I'm liking that they're kind of a new wave of the Celtics. Like,
You know why I don't root for Al Horford?
why is that? Probably Florida. They beat us in
Exactly.
07, I'll say.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm not the
So
biggest
I
Al
ain't
Horford
rooting for
guy
him.
either.
Forget him. I ain't forgot. Yeah, I hold grudges. So, I wanted Miami to come out, but Miami didn't look like they were ready for Golden State because they could barely stop Boston.
Yeah, I
They
don't.
were able to go in and get some road wins, but Boston has been winning on the road. So that's why you think that they possibly might have a chance against Golden State. They split the season series. Unfortunately, they're going to be in Golden State. And we all know that Chase Center, an old, place where they used to play prior to that, is going to be packed and, loud and all that other stuff. So, with them being a pretty good road team, you hope that they can withstand that because today was the anniversary of J.R. Smith forgetting what the score was.
I
ESPN
saw that.
posted that.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
that.
today was the anniversary of that game. But it's going to be pretty raucous in there. So I just don't know. I don't know. I just think Golden State has too much, and I think that they're going to run rush shot on the Boston Celtics. Whereas great for Boston to get there, great story. But I just think Golden State has too much, and they're going to be able to beat Boston pretty easily.
I agree. I think that realistically, my I think Warriors in 6.
Okay.
I hope Boston in 7. I really do want to see them win it. Like, I have loved watching their brand of basketball throughout the playoffs, but also, I mean, the Warriors, and if Steph gets another ring, that's going to be interesting with the LeBron Steph conversation after that, because it always gets. It's definitely going to be talked about if he has the same amount of rings as Bron. So we'll see. I really don't think the Celtics have enough to overcome all their weapons, though.
But how much more special will it be that the Cleveland Cavaliers was able to beat Golden State if Golden State win another ring? How
I
much?
still, I still think that's like the greatest ring of all time, or at least it's in the conversation for it. But I mean, it just depends on how you look at it. I mean, Steph obviously has done a lot for the game and changed it, but Bron is. I mean, Bron is Bron. He's been doing this for. I still don't think it's like that close or anything like that. But I'm just saying that I know in the media we're gonna talk about it and it's gonna get brought up for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might be one of the greatest ones of all time because of this dynasty that the Golden State Warriors have, and that Cleveland Cavaliers was able to go in there and beat the best, regular season team down 3-1, everything on the line. So I think that ring might be one of the greatest in basketball history, with everything that the Cleveland Cavaliers had to accomplish to get it. And because, I think that they're going to roll Boston. I just want it to be good. I would love for it to go to game 7, but it's probably not going to.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I'm definitely thinking Warriors in 6.
Yeah.
But hopefully Tatum can just go off. I still believe that him and Jaylen Brown, I mean, they're both liable to get 25 to 30 a night. And with the right surrounding performances, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right, Kayla. Well, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Looking forward to having you on some more in the future. You have been listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM, and we are out of here. Thanks, Caleb. I'll talk to you later.
Nope.
All right. See ya.
Yep, I'll see you.
Bye.